Okay, the last type of graph or chart we're going to look at is the box and whisker plot. And this is just on the bottom of your stem and leaf plot page. So page 7. But if we look at what this is, there's a lot of explaining to do here, but it's a special type of diagram showing quartiles. So the prefix core meaning 4 pieces of info or chunks with lines extending to the lowest and highest values. So if we just look at this is a lot of vocab. So get your pencil ready. But right here is just called the minimum value or the lowest value. So I'm just going to put right here, I believe IXL does call it the minimum value. And that's the smallest number in the set of data. And then we have the highest value, also called the maximum value. So those 2 pieces of info, some questions are just going to ask you that. Like, hey, what's the maximum value? And then you would just look down here and our maximum value is 8. Okay, so some questions will be simply like locating that piece. One of the biggest important things about a box and whisker plot is actually something we're going to cover in more detail on Thursday, but it's a median. And the median in a set of data is the middle number when the numbers are listed in order. Okay, so the middle number when the number is listed in order. And I'm just going to highlight this so we can make the connection. This Q2, or this middle line in this box, is the median. So in this case, our median is 5. I'll just put a 5 here at the tail end. So our median is 5. Just for kicks, I'll also put in our minimum value is 2. And our maximum value is 8. And then we have something called the I'll start with the lower quartile. And the lower quartile is the median of the left side of the data. I'll share more in detail what that is. But the lower quartile, here I'll match some colors here. So we have the minimum value, the maximum value highlighted in blue here. The lower quartile is the first box here, or the first line to make this box, or Q1, quartile 1. So here we can see that the lower quartile as a number here is 4. So some of your questions are going to say just that. What is the lower quartile of this set of data? You would just type in a 4. Okay. Then we also have something called the upper quartile. It's just the opposite. It's the median on the right side of the data. So the upper quartile here would be Q3, which is 7. So the upper quartile is 7. Some more terminology, one being the range. Your range is your highest value minus your lowest value. On this example, our range would be our 8 minus 2, which equals 6. That's the range of data. Think of it like the spread of data. And lastly, you'll have an interquartile range. And your interquartile range is your upper quartile minus your lower quartile. So think of the inter as the inside. It's this box really, right? So interquartile range would be 7 minus 4, which would be 3. Or interquartile range. So some of your questions you guys are going to see is just asking you what the interquartile range is. And here, I'll just put this in. Interquartile range. All right, one of the last big pieces of information about a box and whisker plot is how it splits up in these quartiles. So this is going to get a little messy, but we'll make sense of it. Just try your best on your drawing. But notice we have 5 pieces of information here. The lowest value, the highest value, the median, the middle number, right? And then the median of this data, and then the median of this data, the lower and upper. But if you notice, a box and whisker plot actually is broken up into 4 pieces. And I'm going to do another color besides black. Maybe I'll just try like a blue. But from here, your lower value to your lower quartile is 1 piece. Your lower quartile to your median is another bucket, if you look at it that way. Here to here is another one. And here to here is another one. So here's the deal here. So I'm going to highlight something. It's going to be really busy. But this chunk right here represents 25% of the data. 25% of the data lives in that piece of any bar graph, or excuse me, any box and whisker graph. The next 25% lives from here to here. 25% lives here. And then 25% of the data lives here. It's not like me drawing 5s or writing 5s. And then from here to here is the other 25. So I'm going to erase these colors in a minute, but I just want to show that you can see, okay, this green part is 25%. This blue part is 25%. This last piece is 25%. So if I add those 4 25s up, I get 100% of the data, right? So I have some sample questions we're going to look at, but some questions are going to ask you, like 25% of the data is up to what number would be 4, right? Because 25 stops there. But again, I'm going to erase these for now. We're just going to start answering some questions and really wrap our head around what's going on here. Oops, I'll keep this though. Keep the yellow one. And that's really where the quartiles come in. We have these 4 buckets. All right, so let's look at some sample questions. These are not on your in your packet. Where these are just bonus ones. Think of it that way. So here it says, Mrs. James is a 6th grade teacher. She recorded how many minutes each student reported reading over winter break. What was the upper quartile of the time spent reading? So if I look back at my crazy picture, the upper quartile is right here. So it's Q3, which is 7. So if I look at this graph, this is my upper quartile, right? Or more specifically, if I just kind of line this up right here, right? That's my upper quartile. So our answer is simply 300. If this question read, what is the median? Then it would be right here, and that would be 250, right? Or the lower quartile would be 100, right? Or just for kicks, if it asked the interquartile range, would be our 300 minus our 100 would give us 200. Right, so your questions are going to bounce around as far as what they ask, but that page with your definitions is going to be super important. Let's look at our next one here. So here it says Julia teaches 2 dog training classes. The level 1 class helps dogs learn the basics, while level 2 focuses on more advanced commands. For each class, she kept track of the number of dogs that attended each session. These box plots show the results. Okay, so if we look down here, we have level 1 and we have this in purple kind of set of this box and whisker plot. Level 2, this box and whisker plot. So here the question reads, which class has a lower median? Which class has the lower median? Oh my goodness. So median, we are solely looking at this right here. So the median for level 1, if we were to continue our line here, is 7, right? And the median for level 2, remember it's the inner line of the box, is 9. So the lower is obviously the purple, so it would be level 1, right here, because that's 7 and the other one is 9. All right, when you get kind of towards the 70s range, you might have a question like this. Mr. Larson, a math teacher, assigned his students a project to do in pairs. He recorded the grade each pair earned. Which box plot represents the data? So if we just look, always look, in your outlet, your minimum and maximum value are the easy ones. But notice how they're the same. These are both 70, these are both 100, so not very helpful. The median's the same, the lower quartile's the same. So it looks like, hey, we need to figure out which one of these it is, right? What's the upper quartile of this data? So how we have to do it, and it takes time and effort, is we first have to list the numbers in order. So we're going to list these numbers in order here. I'm going to do it right over here. I'm going to do it right now, live. So let's see. We have 70, right? 71, 73. Hopefully I don't forget any here. See a 75, 77. No more 70s. So I see a 80. I see 84. I see 86. I see 87. You know what you should do too if you're doing this is I would cross off as you go. So I'm actually going to do that now. So 70, 71, 73, 75, 77, 80, 84, 86, 87. All right, it helps me just kind of see it better, right? 87, so I have 92, 95, 96, 97, and 100. Whew, it's a lot to write down. I don't really want to make it bigger. 1 second here so we can get them all in a straight line will be helpful. Okay, so there's all our numbers. So the next thing I would do maybe is count that we have them all. So like, let's see, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Let's see, 1, 2, 3. Maybe I'll do this instead. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. All right, so I know I have the right number of numbers written down, but that's the first thing we have to do is list them in order. Then we have 14 numbers, so that means that 7 would be on the left and 7 would be on the right. Okay, this is the true middle, if you think of it like that. Right, and if you think of the number between 84 and 86, it's 85. Which is what our chart does show. So we're looking at, okay, what's our upper quartile? So if you look at this set of numbers right here on the right, this set here, I want to know what the middle number is. So my middle number on the right is 95. So that's my upper quartile. This is the winner. I would click this box. This one says 90, right, which is not 95. So some of them you actually have to write out work and show your work there or find it. Otherwise, you'd just be guessing. You have to actually show your work or work it out. It's better worded. All right, last question here, guys. So last school year, Trent kept track of the amount of time he spent on homework each night. This box plot shows the results. So it looks like the least amount of time was 30 minutes. The most was 110, median 60, lower quartile 40, upper quartile 80. So just kind of getting the lay of the land. Then it says, what percent of the time did Trent spend at least 80 minutes on his homework? So at least means 80 minutes or more. So this bar here is what we're looking for. And it's asking for a percentage. So if you remember those chunks, right, from here to here, 25% of the data lives. From here to here, another 25. Here to here, another 25. Here to here. Oops. So being the highlighted chunk, 80 or more is just in one bucket. This would represent 25% of the time. 25% of the time he spent at least 60 minutes on his homework or 80 minutes or more. If it worded, what percent of the time did Trent spend less than 80 minutes on his homework? Just for example, less than 80 minutes. It would be these three. 1, 2, 3, right? So remember, each bucket's 25%. So that would be 75% of the time he spent less than 80 minutes, depending on how the question's worded. Just wanted to throw that out there that you could add up your 25s to get where you're going. All right, so go ahead and give your homework a try. I think we have a good overview of what's going on here. I can showcase your homework real quick. Your homework will be in Blackboard, of course, in Learning Plan 3 now. Learning Plan 3. It's dated today, data analysis. And if you scroll down, there are videos here that could be helpful, but really you only need the ones you're viewing now will be fine. Again, you do not have to do all of these unhighlighted lessons. Those are optional. I want you guys just to do these 5 highlighted lessons here. 5 highlighted lessons. So go get your 85% in each category, and then that will wrap up our learning plan for today. Good luck.